Sorry that one of the first times that I was watching wrestling, and I was like, what? Yeah. But that's how a lot of wrestling world. 3 minutes, Taylor.
Whitaker Insurance. Value RX Pharmacy Tazewell. Roland Veterinary Services. Mary's Home Furnishings and Appliance Center. Claiborne Health and Wellness. Walker and Walker Construction. Stay and Play Doggy Daycare and more. Pizza Inn of Tazewell. Hearthside Bank. Danny England Motors. Clayton Homes of Middlesboro, Kentucky. John Smith Subs, Harrogate, Tennessee. Communications provided by First Century Bank.
All right, folks, welcome to the Zones All Access. This is episode 51. Tonight up here at Rex's, I have Caleb Miracle. He's a firefighter up here, as well as many other things, including co-owner of the, what is it, the Elevate Pro Wrestling. We're going to talk to him about sports and more. Just if you haven't already, please notice on the bottom we have marketing partners on that ticker. These partners are what allows us to do what we do, and the premier partners you saw in the video earlier. So let's get down to it. Caleb, let's get a little background. Where are you from?
Born and raised here.
Yeah.
Originally grew up in Speedwell, moved to Tazewell when I started high school, and I've been here ever since, except for a short stint. I lived in Florida for a couple of years, but been back here since 2019 and been at it ever since.
What part do you call home?
Here.
I've lived here in County.
The Tazewell. I've lived in Tazewell probably the longest, so
Tazewell.
that's home.
All right. Let's talk about sports when you're a young lad.
Oh yeah.
What sports did you play?
Growing up, I played basketball in middle school and football all the way up until my freshman year in high school. So I kind of gave up football because my mom gave me a choice that I could either pursue my wrestling career or I could play football. And as a teenager, I started wrestling at 14. wrestling kind of was one of those things where I looked at it first and went, "Well, it's the thing that I loved growing up and wanted to succeed in."
Yeah.
So that pushed me one way, but it also was like, well, football, it's going to take up a lot of time and stuff, but at the same time, wrestling will too, but wrestling will pay me a little bit. So, so I went that way.
As a kid, what was your favorite sport?
Uh, Probably I watched a lot of college football and honestly wrestling. Like it's just been my go-to.
Well, just talking about the round ball sports, why did you like that so much?
What, college ball?
Yeah, college football.
Um, Honestly, I feel like college ball compared to the NFL has less politics, I guess you could say.
Did.
That's yeah, I did.
Did. Uh, okay, what did you learn from sports?
Um, I think more of the physical health and fitness side of things because I hold that really close to myself now, as I've got older. So I think a lot of conditioning and stuff like that, and discipline really.
Hmm. Uh, did you have a favorite team or athlete?
Oh God, don't hate me for this. I not against UT, but I'm not a necessarily a diehard UT fan. But growing up, I was a Florida fan um, for a long time.
There was
Yeah,
one worse answer.
yeah. Well,
Rex knows it.
I was a Florida fan growing up, and I mean,
Mm,
I was big into it during the Tebow era. So,
yeah. Oh, he's a great athlete. Uh, why did you mention yeah, Tebow? What part of his athletics did you like?
athletic wise, I think for me, he was so well rounded and disciplined in being a quarterback. I think that was one thing for me that drew me, I guess, to be a Tebow fan. Aside from just the sports side of it, but his
Yeah,
faith.
Faith. Yeah,
Like,
for sure. Okay, you answered this a little bit, but I'm still going to ask you. Did you watch wrestling as a kid?
oh, absolutely. Like I said, it was my go-to. I grew up during like the WCW WWF era when they started kind of having
The
their
war.
war. So,
Yes.
so that was kind of the era I grew up in. But as I got older, I really enjoyed going back and watching a lot of the Smoky Mountain wrestling and NWA and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So,
Did you have a favorite wrestler?
ah,
Several.
yeah, I was gonna say like growing up, it's probably changed several times. But if I can look back on wrestlers, um, like if we want to go back to like the NWA era and stuff like that, I would say one of my favorites was Stan Hansen. Um, but and probably Sid Vicious or Sid Justice or whatever you
Wow,
want to call him.
I
Um,
didn't think you'd go there.
yeah, but as I got older, like I said, the era I grew up in, I was a really big like Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero fan.
Yes, sir. Eddie
And then
Guerrero. Yes.
as far as steady career, I think like Randy Orton's been my overall favorite for like a long time.
What, like the Randy Orton comment there? Why? What drew you to Randy Orton?
So more Randy as he's got further in his career than early in his
Yeah.
career. Because I think even now, Randy Orton is he don't have to do a lot of like the super entertaining like flipping off the top rope spots or stuff
Hmm.
like that. He's super athletic and entertaining, and is just a simple go to. He the way he portrays himself, I guess, in the ring,
Right.
he's very calculated like a strategist. So like I took up with that a lot.
Yeah, I watched a video the other day talking about him doing his promos
Hmm.
compared to what he does now
Yeah.
and how it's changed in his life. I thought found that interesting. When did you actually know and feel like you wanted to try, and where did you try to wrestle first, or go to the schooling? And just tell us all about it.
So for me, the whole start with the whole wrestling career came about honestly. Um, it, it's weird to go to. So my mom was a wrestler and a valet for this area, and she was also a critical care medic for Claiborne for a long time. Um,
Now, who was that?
she she was Michelle Miracle for a long time, and then when she passed away in 2019, she was Michelle Smith. Um, when she got into it, I think it was more like we were going and watching for a long time, and then she kind of got drawn into being like the EMT and stuff at the shows for them,
Yeah.
and then ended up training. So I think for us, it was a bonding thing for me and my mom. She was like my best friend. Um, when I started though, I was about 14 years old, so I kind of grew up in the business, I guess. I was the kid that got pulled in the ring for them to try moves and stuff on for a long time growing up. Um, Back then, when I started training, though, there weren't really wrestling schools. You would just kind of hope somebody took up with you, and when you asked to be trained, that you would be able to find that person.
Yeah.
And actually, the guy that trained me, he wrestled by Jason Max. His real name was Jason Ellis, and he's actually from right here in Claiborne County as well. He wrestled in a tag team called the Death Row Inmates, which was the tag team my mom valeted for.
Yeah.
Um, and he kind of took me under his wing early on, and once he got me kind of trained, he started taking me to shows and stuff like that. I traveled with him.
What was your first character like?
Oh, let's just put it this way: like character for me was I
Describe it for us.
I would just have to say a young punk kid. Like that was my first character of myself because and I feel like it was organic because it's kind of where I was at in life. I was probably about that time I was about 15, 16 years old, and I was learning a lot. But obviously, when you're young and stuff like that, and you're put in the ring with these bigger guys, like these crowds want to eat you alive, so they want to see the bigger guys beat the crap out of you. So just being a punk and mouthy and stuff like that, it just kind of worked. I won't say it was probably the best choice, but
Okay, from that point on to current, who all has trained you?
oof. So like I said, my main training was under Jason Max, which he was trained by Mr. Fuji, and a lot of the guys we traveled with that were veteran wrestlers in the area, Menace, Shane Andrews, Sean Schultz, Shane Williams, those were all local guys, and sadly, a lot of them is retired from the sport now. That kind of trained me and helped me along the way. But I've also done a lot of training under people. What we call them seminars now. So it's kind of like wrestling camps. Some of them are a few hours to some of them maybe a couple of days. But I've been trained with Tom Pritchard, Santino Morello, Bob Evans. Um, Gosh, I did stuff with Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson,
That's awesome.
AJ Styles. So like a lot of early on stuff was very helpful, and meeting a lot of those people just to sit down and kind of pick their brain helped
I
a
bet
lot.
that had to be interesting. Where are you now as a wrestler? What uh, tell us about your character now?
Okay, character wise now, so everybody here locally knows me as Caleb Miracle. That's just me. Character wise, if you see me at a wrestling show, I'm portrayed as Brutus. Um, and they usually call me the Appalachian Animal Brutus. So character wise, I would have to say if anybody here is a Marvel comic fan and you know who Craven the Hunter is,
Oh yeah,
I would say pretty close to that. So I'm portrayed more as an anti-hero, I guess you could say. I don't fall to I don't I don't fall to like the higher ups or the corporations or anything like that. I try to stand on my beliefs and um as far as wrestling style in the ring is where the animal part comes in. It's more like an animal stalking their prey, I guess you could say. So kind
yeah,
of like a mercenary type.
that's good. Talk about your first promo you ever did and your current promos. How have you
Oh
improved?
wow. Um I would say, I guess, like early on promos, there's a lot of stage fright. You don't want to say the wrong thing.
Oh, exactly.
Let's put it this way: like, there's a difference between being behind a camera and taking 3 or 4 takes to try to get something right versus when you have a microphone in front of a crowd of 100 to 1,000 of people and they're waiting on you to screw up because they will call you out quick on it. So early on, there was a lot of stage fright there. Nowadays, gosh, I will have to say, like, luckily, I only usually have to take 1 to maybe 2 takes possible. But the way I do a lot of promos nowadays versus then is now we have social media technology and all this stuff that helps. So like my promos videos for social media and stuff like that, I do a lot of what we call video vignettes. So I'll have partially me doing a promo or me talking the whole time, but I'll also have pieces of a story in there of like different matches and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Is the success of doing a better promo, is it really a maturation of you as a person or as the wrestler?
I guess the best answer I give you on that was given to me by Ricky Morton years ago. And when it comes to a character and promo and stuff like that, Ricky always told me, and a lot of us, try to stay as close to who you are as a person and amplify that. So like, and I've heard it from a lot of bigger named wrestlers and stuff too, in different interviews and stuff like that. They'll always tell you like who they are as a character is basically who they are, just crank the volume cranked all the way up. So for me, it's kind of the same way. Um, when I go to do a promo or anything like that, um, I just take who I am
Mhm.
and I follow a guideline for myself for a good promo. I kind of put a subject behind it, and that's what I flow with.
Looking back, how many characters have you been and which one was your favorite?
Um, at least four, and I would have to say my current one has been the one I've been able to get behind the most.
Okay, what does everybody out there that may or may not come to the event coming up on the 28th at Claiborne High School, be there. Uh,
Yes, please.
what what do they need to know about your character so they can follow you a little bit more?
Uh, I would have to say, like, if you really want to deep dive down into my character, um, go to my character's Facebook page. You can follow me as Brutus on any social media I'm on.
Yeah.
Not only do I just advertise for the shows that I'm on, but you'll catch a lot of video vignettes and promos and stuff like that on there. Um, for me, it's something I guess that fans have to understand is I may be a locked wrestler here in this area where I've grew up in, and people want to be get behind me,
I
but I
get it.
but
Yep.
I may travel and wrestle too. I just came back from Georgia this past weekend, where like I go to Georgia and people absolutely hate me. So you just kind of got to fiend off of which side of me you're going to get that night, and that's
Yeah.
just because of like if you boo me, I'm going to try to make you boo me harder. If you're going to cheer me, then I'm behind it, and I'll do everything I can to entertain you.
Okay, here's what everybody wants to know. What's your finishing move?
So I call it the final judgment. Um, it's kind of like an inverted version of like take Brock Lesnar's F5, but instead of spinning him out and laying him down, I turn the F5 into like Goldberg's jackhammer.
Ooh,
So like, yeah, and like there's video clips of it all over.
yeah.
Like it's a wicked finisher. Other than that, I call it the B2S. It's called Boot to Skulls, and it's basically Drew McIntyre's Claymore.
Let's go. Oh,
So
I love it. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about co-owning Elevate Pro Wrestling. Okay, how did it come about?
wow. Elevate's been running now. We're going on our 2 year mark this summer. We started in Eastern Kentucky. Uh, was not really the original plan. Um, Elevate kind of before it was Elevate was supposed to be a wrestling academy that I was going to run.
Mhm.
I always said I didn't want to run a wrestling show. And I didn't want to own it, but I had a lot of good people get behind it, and I felt God led us that way. So we put God and our faith a lot into what we do, and Elevate started, like I said, in Eastern Kentucky. Um, and it had its ups and downs for the first little bit because you're kind of like fighting the bugs out
Yeah.
basically, and but we've grown massively, and I guess like once we started seeing some success in it and the following that we've got, it's I don't know, it's been a lot better and totally different for me. I take pride in it.
Okay, overall, how's it going? And in your opinion, how's it going? And what does a promotion need to do to better itself?
So I guess for me, success wise, it's been growing a lot over the past few months even. It was a weird turning point, I guess you could say. Back in October we did a show we called Grave Consequences. At first, I was worried about the show because I usually don't make us have no more than 6 to 7 matches. This show, we ended up having 8, and I was afraid that like fans were going to get a little too tired. They weren't going to want to hang out for 8 matches. Um, but it ended up being a really big drawing show that night. And at the same time, it wasn't just the show that really took into concept how much we were really doing until the show itself went up on YouTube, which you can go watch still to this
Yeah.
day. Grave Consequences. It's over 4,000 views, and I know it don't sound like a lot to some of these people that are, major YouTubers or content makers, but for us,
Well, you're building.
right, and
Hmm.
for us, once we hit over 4,000 views, it really opened our eyes to seeing that like we may only have 100 to 200 people at a show, but then behind the camera, we got thousands of eyes that are watching. And that show itself, too, a show before that kind of helped, but that show itself started putting Elevate on a bigger platform where we have multiple podcasts that we're on now that recognize us and our matches and watch our stuff and review our stuff all the time. Multiple of our wrestlers have been on. It's called IWX or IXW. They do wrestlers all over the United States. They kind of review them and they put them on a ranking list. And a bunch of our guys had made that list this past year, me included.
Awesome.
They made a list. I think it was like 1,000 though. So I mean, there was which 1,000 sounds like that's a lot out of wrestlers. So like it don't
It's a
sound
drop in the
amazing,
bucket. Yeah.
but really like
It's a drop in the
that's
bucket.
yeah, that's really not
Okay.
much compared to the
That's
amount of
doing good
wrestlers out
work.
there.
Yeah.
So I guess that was kind of our turn point. As far as somebody that wants to succeed in this business, as far as running a show, think of the wider picture and listen to your fans.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, wider picture being anything behind that lens right there, the people that's watching that is just as great as the people that's there. Make your shows more intimate. So your crowd that's there, make it, when I say intimate, like involve them into what you're doing because that makes them want to come back and bring their families and stuff like that.
Yeah. The sports athlete or parent of, grandparents of, that kind of is a WWE watcher or AEW or TNA. How do you go about appealing to that person to get them to come out to an EPW show?
And that's kind of why we started doing what we call TV style. We wanted to be able to we know our wrestling talents at the same level.
Hmm.
It's just getting them out there for those people to view. So if we could take that to them by putting stuff on YouTube and Twitch, and places like that, we can draw them in. And we're still working on a actual streaming deal with Roku or anything. But production level, I think, has a lot to do with it. We when it comes to bringing those kind of fans to us, it's like I tell a lot of people because I have people come to me and they're like, "Oh, it sounds cool and you enjoy what you're doing," but I've never really cared too much for it. So and I was and I'll say this. My fiance, she's amazing, and when we got together, though, she had never like her family watched wrestling growing up. She had never really been a part of it, never went to a live event or anything like that, and so she was kind of weary of it or standoffish, I guess, being like, "Oh, you're a wrestler," kind of thing. And then like when she went to one of our first events, like she's hooked now as a fan. So my biggest thing is for those of you that hasn't been outside of like the major WWE realm, go out and go to a wrestling event, a live event, because there's nothing like it.
Yeah. Who does the program have that the fans can relate to and get behind and would enjoy watching? Who are your seasoned talent? Those
So
guys.
several. And I'm not even going to include me. Um, we have like our tag team champions right now. They go by Higher Dreams. One of them, his name's Ethan Higher. His tag team partner is Nakeem. They're from Louisville, Kentucky. But related wise is these are some young, energetic, like they're really entertaining.
Yeah.
Poor Ethan is probably a foot short from being a small person. He's a really short guy, but a cool story behind him that's related is we did a show for the Shriners not too long ago, and he was actually a Shriner kid growing up.
Oh man.
So like the resonation there with a lot of people. Another one I'll have to say, and I'll be wrestling him here on the 28th. He's our heavyweight champion right now. His name's Xander Storm. He actually works out here at Claiborne County Sheriff's Department. A lot of people know him probably under a different name. But related wise, he played football here for Cumberland Gap High School. He played semi-pro football. He's a super talented athlete. A lot of you, if you go to Claiborne Fitness, you'll probably see him there. He's the mouthy one that can't shut up, but he he's really a lot of people suck to Xander because he's very charismatic and
Yeah.
he's good at talking to people and relating. So I think there's a lot there, and not just saying that because so me and Xander were we call each other brothers. We're brothers without blood. We grew up in the sport together. His dad and his papa helped with taking me and my mom under their wing. His dad was a veteran wrestler in the area called the Thug. His papa was in the NWA, was one of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team Champions for a while, the Bounty Hunter. So like we grew up together doing this, and luckily he's still one of my best friends today. We live in the same area and stuff. So I think a lot of people can resonate with him. Um, and then we got like we'll switch to like the women's side, and I'd have to say, um, like Brooklyn Ray. She's newer to the sport. She's been wrestling for close to a year now, but she's just now starting to see the sport for what it is. But she relates a lot to the younger girls and stuff with the crowd. She's really high and energetic. She's still trying to find her character in her way, but she's really won over the fans. And then we have another one. Her name's Nikki Wild, and they'll both be in the women's championship match on the 28th. Nikki Wild is from the Kingsport area, but she was trained under NWA talent currently Casey Kazana and Kinsey Page, which was just the women's champion for the NWA for almost over 2 years almost. Um, and then she just got back from Seth Rollins' training school in Iowa. So like she's not only good in the sport itself, but once again, just like Brooklyn, she's related to a lot of these younger teenagers and stuff like that. So like a lot of our top talent, Jake Rayner, uh, Jake Rayner, his dad also wrestled for a long time. He's a second generation wrestler, but Jake's relatable to a lot of people because he's just your big blue collar guy, and not just like it's him as a character, but it's him in real life,
Yeah.
and a lot of people relate to it. So
Do you have any plans, or I don't know if it happens or not, you can fill me in, but bringing somebody more notable for the common fan? Do you have any plans of bringing someone like that in that might have been seen
Oh yeah,
on
we
other?
we have, and we plan to continue to do so. So actually, the 28th, for all who come out, there will be a female wrestler there. Her name's Jada Stone. She is a TNA wrestler.
Yeah.
Um, Jada is super talented, and she's actually doing a lot in TNA right now. Um, and we've had people in the past. We've had Kerry Morton several times come in and wrestle for us from the NWA. Larry D is a big name wrestler through GCW, TNA, NWA, and we continue to try to grow those people. And a lot of the people, not just the people that we're trying to bring in now that are named already like that, but a lot of the people I've met throughout my career that I've been talking to. And TNA people are probably going to be a little more the notable role that comes
Yeah.
in with us. And that's mainly because, luckily I'd got the opportunity after doing the Santino Morello camp this past November that I actually got to go down and work with TNA and do some stuff with them. So I got a lot of contacts and stuff through them and networked a lot while I was down there. So you'll probably be seeing a lot of TNA talent in EPW.
That is awesome. Uh, how can potential wrestlers that want to get involved in the sport, who do they contact to get that ball rolling?
So there's several different ways. And nowadays is a little bit different than when it was when I started, and for the better, really. Um, there's training schools. So I guess you could say the training schools all over the United States, and they have training schools all the way, I mean, across the world, really. Um, you just kind of, I guess you would find the school that's closest to you in your area, or if you want to, there's schools that are really well noted for people that from like WWE or places like that
Yeah.
that pull from. So if you feel like traveling and that's something you want to do, that's a good way to get your foot in the door. But There's also the old school way of going to your local wrestling show. And if it's something you're interested in, you find the wrestler you take up with, and they can probably point you in the right direction. And that's kind of what we're trying to do. So, and I'll use that for here. Anybody that would possibly get interested in that in this area, we are trying to look for a way to open up Elevate Pro Wrestling Academy here in Claiborne County. Just to throw that out there.
That would be nice. Okay, is there anything else you want to mention about February the 28th at Claiborne High School? What time's the gates open, and you got that
Yeah,
figured out yet?
yeah. So
And first bell?
the doors will open and you can start coming in and getting tickets at 6 o'clock. Showtime's at 7. That'll be when officially everything starts. Um, and then there'll be 7 matches that night. Tickets right now, unless something changes, we're trying to work with the high school to make sure we can have a floor section and the bleachers. If we can have a floor section, those seats will be $15 and the bleacher sections will be 10. So that's a general
Yeah.
admission. Now, if something happens and we can't get floor seats, everything will just be $10.
Okay.
And I always tell people we kind of made it our motto like any kid under 3 is free. 3 and free. So like
Yeah. And
um
they really enjoy it too,
yeah,
those
yeah.
smaller kids.
The young kids are the ones that and I feel like for me as a talent, those are the people like I draw to is the younger kids, and the reason being is because I was that kid one time and I watched them feeling like I'm watching these big superheroes up there doing their thing until I started kind of learning more about it. But like the kids are the ones that are really into it.
Yeah. Okay. I want the last word to you. If you want to tell your opponent something, you can just
So
get in character a little bit.
I won't go too deep into a promo right now.
Oh, come on.
Because I've been building this. I'd already cut one for the last show against my opponent. So unfortunately, we had to cancel our last show due to all the snow and stuff that happened. My opponent for this show here in Claiborne County is Xander Storm, the heavyweight champion. So I will be finally getting my match for the heavyweight title on this show in the main
So
event.
he's probably been avoiding you.
Yeah, yeah, just pretty much. Um, we had been a little bit. I'll fill you in a little backstory behind it. Why we're at where we're at. I used to be that bad guy when this all started. That followed. They call themselves the 5 Star Mafia now. We were literally. It was just me and Xander for a long time, and then all these other people started kind of joining in. And when I first won the heavyweight title back at the first of last year,
He didn't betray you, did he?
no, they got mad at me. So like I beat Kerry Morton for the heavyweight title back last year, and Kerry Morton said something to me in the middle of the ring when he handed me the belt that night. He told me basically to get rid of the silliness of the people I was with if I was going to be an honorable champion, and I took it to heart. I left the group personally because I wanted to be a defending champion in the right way, and I've defended about four title defenses until I'd fractured my cheekbone, and it put me out for 8 weeks. And by the time I had to vacate the title, and just so happens Xander picked up that title, and he's had it ever since. So um, this has been an ongoing building thing with me and Xander to where it's kind of more at this point. I don't even think it's about the belt. I think now with me and him, it's more a brother competition of finally who is better
Who's best? Yep.
because we over the years have traveled wrestling each other and wrestling together, and we've had our back and forths, but I think it's more personal now. I don't think it's about the title anymore. For me, would it be best if I could gain the title back here in Claiborne County? Absolutely. Um, I, I'll never say that. Not even then. This is Brutus, not Caleb, the co-owner, or anything. But as as Brutus, if I could have the title on my shoulder and hold the company up, I know I could do it because I was already there.
Yeah.
Um, as Caleb Miracle, I would say that like it isn't about a title anymore. It's not. It's more on a personal level, and I think that's what we're ready to give the fans on the 28th. Is where you're not getting just a regular title match, who wins takes all kind of thing. You're getting a personal, I guess, a personal fight and competition between two brothers.
Okay. Okay, everybody, put this down. February 28th, Claiborne High School. It's it's all for a fundraiser for the athletic program at Claiborne High School. It'll go spread out. Of course, probably go to all the teams out there. So it's another way you can come out here and support Claiborne athletics. But Caleb, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
I enjoyed it. I wish you'd have just got up and threw the mic or something, but that's okay. We'll wait
Let's just
till
be there on the 28th then.
yeah. All right. Thank you all for watching. Thank our partners, our premier partners. Uh, without them, we couldn't do what we do, and you guys are the reason we do what we do. Uh, just I'm humbled by the support we get, and I'm fixing to head out to Claiborne High School to do a couple of varsity basketball games later tonight. Be sure you join me then. And until next time, may God bless. We'll see you.